share, okay? Okay, we want to begin with a video for you.
Let's get this party started. This is a celebration, and I love how this video captures that.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in the palm. You are a statement explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner all the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner all the day. Yes, I'm the winner. Yes, I'm the
Tons of fun.
What
Tons
a
of
year
fun.
it has been. So much to celebrate. And we're excited to have all of you here to recap and be a part of that celebration, and also to look ahead at where we're going as well. But one of the key parts of that celebration is that this year ICF San Antonio was awarded a chapter distinction award from ICF Global for all of the accomplishments of 2019. And really that represents the huge boost in membership growth that we had, close to 50% membership growth, as well as really increasing the visibility of coaching here in San Antonio. And with that, we really are on pace to align with the mission that Global has set out. And that is these three things: that ICF is about helping coaches to coach better, to coach more, and to coach connected. And that is really what we are focused on as a chapter, in terms of providing high quality professional training to continue deepening skills, going to the next level of credentialing, but also helping coaches to coach more. Part of our mission as a chapter is to be generating more coaching opportunities for coaches, both in terms of pro bono, investing in the community, but also in facilitating strategic partnerships with organizations that help coaches grow their businesses and have more paying clients as well. And then it's also about coaching connected, that we do thrive on that collaboration and what we do in partnership with others. So as we go through the different facets of what's happening with ICF San Antonio tonight, you'll get to see how each of these three things is being facilitated in tangible ways. So I'll turn it back over to Susanna here to cue up what's next.
Thank you so much, Carissa, our amazing and awesome president and leader. And with Carissa's leadership, the people that you see on your screen right now are the ones that have been on the board, some of us since March 2019, some in more recent months, but this was a core of our board. And together, you know, we work really, really hard and accomplished a lot, numerous goals in the areas of membership growth, financial stability, social media presence, awareness and impact in the community, and quality programming. So thank you, Carissa, Jessica, Chichi, Aurora, and Paula. And next, I want to introduce you to the 3 newest members of the ICF San Antonio board. And so here we have Janice Waymeyer in programming, Terry White as a treasurer, and Roger, who is a representative from the military membership. And we're very, very, very grateful to have these 3 wonderful people join the board in recent months and join our effort. They add a tremendous amount of knowledge, of skills, of expertise, of perspectives, and also fresh ideas. And so that's what helps us move forward. And next, we're going to share some updates with you. And these updates will be starting with membership, followed by outreach, partnerships, and awareness. And next is programming, then finance, and finally military. So I'll turn it over to Paula Miles. She will talk to us a little bit about membership.
All right. Thank you so much, Susanna. And I am excited to be here with all of you. Some of you I get to see fairly often and others not quite so much. So it's good to be here this evening. You saw in the really cute video just kind of the 2020 updates for membership, 49 active members. And one of the interesting things that we did do in this particular year was add 6 new membership levels. And when you add a membership level, at least from the perspective that we looked at it, it was really focused on particular needs in the community, both within the coaching community and within the greater community. So as an example, we added membership around 100 coaching sessions in 100 days. There's also the focus on the military. We added opportunities for military members and their spouses and affiliated members to join us at discounted rates because we wanted to increase our engagement in that particular, for those particular audiences. But 2021 is really what I'd like to focus on for a couple of minutes here. When we talk about just absolute numbers, we're looking at targeting and bringing in or having at the end of 2021, 60 members, 60 active individual members. And our membership priorities are really going to be around retaining those members that we do have, meeting their needs, and reclaiming those who have been members before and for whatever reason have moved away or lapsed. We want to understand what their needs are and be able to meet them and bring them back into the fold. And the growth that we are talking about doing will be around corporate membership. You'll see there are 3 corporate members. We don't currently have any right now, but we see a real opportunity to partner with corporate members and to bring them into the fold. And then when we look at individual members, we are looking at targeting active and aspiring coaches residing in Deep South Texas and in Far West Texas, where there are not active chapters. And we're going to be looking at what the needs are for their particular communities and then figuring out how we're going to address those with the incredible programming that you're going to hear about here in a few moments. And that's what I have for membership, Susanna.
Thank you very, very much, Paula. We're excited about the growth and the goals for 2021. And now we're going to have Aurora talk to us a little bit about outreach.
Yes, and so because we were all hit with the pandemic, the response that our chapter wanted to have was to really be part of the solution, to help individuals really respond to this incredible traumatic impact that was affecting every age, every home, every family, every community, every business. So we launched the 100-day, 100 coaching session campaign back in June. We were a little delayed in getting it launched, but what we found is that we had 9 new members that came as a result of the campaign, which generated about $525 in income. We've never done this kind of campaign before, so it was a success that we had. And of the coaches that we have in our membership, 32 agreed to sign up and participate. And we have received some reported coaching sessions that they had. And what we found is they were in the areas of career growth. People were looking for opportunities to grow still their career in this pandemic. And also personal development. They took an opportunity to really grow personally. And others had spiritual growth. They wanted to grow in their own spiritual beliefs. And then 11% were others. However, as we move forward into 2021, our focus is going to remain on building awareness and increasing membership. And part of our awareness campaign is really by leveraging the power of partnerships. So I'll talk on the next slide how we want to remain focused on growing our partnership with ICF Texas chapters and the ACMP chapter. ACMP, a little bit about that. The ACMP stands for the Association of Change Management Professionals. And there is a global task force that I currently sit on where there are members from all over the world representing really 3 core areas. One is the intention of generating competencies that professional change management professionals are advancing as they're working inside of organizations. And then for the second intention is looking at, well, I should say with the first intention, it's also looking at the competencies of coaching, professional coaching. So the intent is, how do we come together as professional organizations so that we can sustain not only the organizational change of systems and processes, but also the people change. And so the intention right now is looking at how do we come up with these competencies that work together. The second intention is generating awareness on these partnerships. And so here in Texas, we're, I believe, the 3rd partnership, but the first in the United States to have a partnership with ACMP and ICF chapters. And so far, we've had success with that because we've had over 60 individuals that from our membership that have participated in the speaking series that we launched in August on uncovering the unconscious bias. And we're continuing to build that partnership, and we're including now the Houston partnership in 2021, and we're hopeful that North Texas will be joining us as well. And then the third intention is really generating awareness around what a change manager professional and a coach, professional coach is. So we're looking forward as we continue to generate that and grow that partnership. And then on the next slide, we talk a little bit about some of the successes we've had in our marketing outreach. We have grown our followers on Facebook from 342 to 420 just this year alone. And Instagram has really been a great platform for us with about 511 followers with the content that we've created. Twitter still remains a little low, and LinkedIn is at 132. And I gave you a little comparison there that our sister chapter in Houston is at 253 followers, and Austin's at 77. But the other success that we've had this year is we launched our YouTube channel, and we've had about 9 hours of watch time so far. And SoundCloud, which is our audio, mostly podcasting platform. We really are leveraging the Coach Connects on these channels. And website visitors that we've had since January, that's been a little over 2,300, almost 2,400 that directly found us. But what's interesting is because we're sharing so much more content, we've got about 907 that are coming to us, to our website from social media. And 803 searches are from just organic searches because of the content that we're putting out there, and the partners that we are partnering with that are referring us to, referring other people to our website. And so again, the goals for 2021 is to grow more followers and engagement and increase video content. And there is going to be something else that we're going to be doing, which is monetizing Vimeo. And that is for those members that didn't have an opportunity to watch or register for a session, we want to make available that content for them so they can watch it on demand. One last item there is you'll see a little picture of our Facebook campaign. What we found is the greatest post that we had on Facebook had to do with business development. So we know that that is a great indicator of our coaches that are really seeking to want to grow their business. And we want to be able to provide that value, that benefit and value to them.
That's fantastic, Aurora, and congratulations on all these accomplishments. And thank you so much for your leadership and vision in terms of awareness and growing our social media presence. And these numbers, I remember about a little bit over a year ago, it was right before International Coaching Week 2019, when we started really heavily using digital media to put our name out there, to put ourselves out there. And it's come a long way. This is impressive, and we want to thank all of our members and friends of ICF San Antonio for liking, for commenting, for following our social media channels. Thank you so much. And next is programming.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see all of you. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jessica Smith-Perry, and I've been serving as the programming director for the last year and a half or so. And we have 3 of us photographed up here on the screen because it has truly been a team effort. Pulling off quality programming is a lot of work. And so I want to provide a really special shout out to both Denise and Susanna for dedicating a considerable amount of time and taking lead on a number of programming items over the last year, as well as the rest of the board and a number of volunteers who don't sit on the board. It's been a really significant team effort to do our programming. So thank you. In 2020, this year alone, we've had 63 events, and this one is our final event for the year. 6 in person and 57 virtual. Back in March, we, of course, made the call to take our upcoming events, like we thought maybe 2 or 3 online. And then I remember calling the venue that we were using most frequently, and we had booked out for the summer, to let them know that I don't think we would be able to make our events for the remainder of the summer, not knowing that we still wouldn't be there here in December. So despite that, we've had significant growth, lots of different formats. For International Coaching Week alone, we had 5 events. And just, one of the things that came out, 2 of the really interesting things with programming this year that came out was, one, Coach Connect. So that was the lunchtime event in a informal setup that's free of charge for coaches and people interested in coaching to come and have a conversation around a loosely facilitated topic. And then the other, which Aurora talked about, was the ACMP partnership. And so we've really brought some good programming around diversity, equity, inclusion in that capacity, in that format. The ICF Mexico USA binational get together just happened. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Susanna here in a moment to share an update with us on that. And then I will be rolling off the board here in the next month. And Denise Weimeyer, who has been working so closely with us and who has basically been a board member already, will be taking my place as director of programming. And so it's fitting that that she discuss our 2021 goals. So over to you, Susanna, and then Denise, you're on deck.
And thank you so much, Jessica, for your service and everything you have done in terms of programming and bringing it to the quality and the level, the number of events that we currently have. The US-Mexico, the ICF Mexico-USA binational get-together was a wonderful, wonderful event that took place on November the 16th. By the way, Yorka and Martha, who are in the audience right now, participated in this event. And basically what happened is we had an opportunity to get to know each other, talk about our backgrounds, our niches, our areas of interest, and also talk about, you know, what are the things that concern us the most, the things that we really would like to share with someone else, and you know, get some feedback perhaps, or get a different opinion, or see what other people are thinking and grow from there. And so we had 2 sets of roundtables. The first one was in English, the second one was in Spanish. And it ends up that everybody who participated spoke English. So that was pretty easy. And we had participants from the United States, several parts of the United States, from mainly San Antonio and Chicago, because those were the 2 chapters that partnered with ICF Mexico to plan for this event. We also had participants from Argentina, from Guatemala, and there was one more country which I don't remember. Maybe Yorka or Martha, would you like to add any comments about that event?
Yeah, it was very well attended, I would say, and there's a lot of different perspectives shared there, and like a brainstorming on how we can collaborate for projects. And I could see the interest in a lot of us that we want to do this, you know, like collaborate, and we're willing to serve both markets. You know, I come from Mexico. I just came here last year, for those who don't know me. So for me, it was like, oh, I know those people in Mexico. Sure. You know, I've been there before. So it was nice to connect with them and to know the people from Chicago. I think there was somebody from Colombia. I'm not sure.
Colombia. Yeah, that was the country I wasn't able to remember. You're right.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
right.
But it was very worth the time that, and I appreciate all the effort that was put into making it happen.
Thank you, Martha. Yorka, would you like to add something?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a fantastic event, and an opportunity to share how our fellow coaches in the LATAM region are growing not only their skill set, but also exploring different ways of coaching and how to stay connected as well. It was incredible. I mean, out of our breakout sessions, I came out so enriched, not only with new connections, but also with new topics that I didn't even know existed when it comes to coaching. So fantastic, Susanna. I'm looking forward to 2021, and I hope those meetings multiply as well.
Thank you, Yorka, for your comments. Well, I wanted to let you know that we don't have to wait until 2021 for the next binational get together, because what we did is we created a private Facebook group. And so whether or not you participated on November 16th, you can join the the Facebook group and continue these conversations. There were numerous topics that were high interest topics that we can join and continue discussing. But more than anything, what this event helped me realize is that we are members of a global community. And so we have an opportunity to reach out and connect and make new friends in Mexico, as well as many other parts of the world. And so I look forward to future years to continue growing these relationships. Denise?
Thank you, Susanna. I first want to thank Jessica for setting a foundation for programming that I feel comfortable trying to fill her shoes and taking over. We are looking forward to a very successful 2021. And I think 2020, as awkwardly as that sounds, laid an amazing foundation for what we have to do moving forward, because so many of our partnerships and our relationships have been formed because we had to pivot, because we had to change to more virtual events. And that gives us the opportunity to actually offer more events, more value, and more different type of value to different coaches, because while we're all coaches, we're not all the same. And so we'll start 2021 with the Southeast Business Building Series, which is a 5-month series. And it really is intended to set the foundation for a coaching business. We talk a lot about coaching credentials and the different kind of competencies and things that we have to have in order to be a coach. And those are all extremely important. We have to have those competencies in order to be successful and be accredited. But a lot of times we're independent business owners and we run businesses. And a lot of us don't get that skill when we're going through our coach certification and our coach training. So this 5-month series is a solid foundation in order to do that. And it's going to be, January is actually a couple of info sessions. And then the program is going to be February, March, April with the celebration and certification in May. It's going to be very small cohort style groups that will be getting together to really get the live virtual facilitation as well as the action planning and the networking. So it's going to be a great program. You do get CCEUs for the program. It is, and I have to look at my notes because I just went blank, resource development, CCEUs. And the price actually ranges anywhere from $247, which is a phenomenal amount, to $497, which is still a great deal. It all depends on when you register. So there's the early bird cutoffs. Registration is open. Unfortunately, although we've tried really hard to get everything done, we haven't gotten that out there yet. We will be getting it in the next week or so. So you can register from our website. If you're interested and don't see something, just make sure you reach out to us and let us know, and we'll give you all the details that we can. But all the information will be coming out. And then we will continue Coach Connect. As Jessica talked about, that was one of the programs that we pivoted to. It's a free program. It will continue to be free. It will continue to be informal, and we'll continue to talk about topics of interest and of importance that are very timely in what's going on in the industry, in the environment, depending on, what happens. Who knows what 2021 will bring. So we will continue those. We're also going to make sure they're a little bit of a podcast style, and we'll be able to put those out on replay on both the YouTube and the SoundCloud platforms. We will also continue our signature program in our what we call masterminds. And that is going to be where we get speakers in that are going to be highly interactive professional sessions that are going to look at connecting with core competencies and CCEUs that we want to continue to develop. And those will both be held on a monthly basis. So we will look at not conflicting with other programs. Those will be a slight fee. And most of them will also be recorded and then on the Vimeo channel that Aurora talked about, which will be a replay. But again, you have to be a member and there will be a fee for that as well. So we're trying to continue to generate a little bit of revenue, which will keep us sustained and profitable in order to offer more and more, hopefully in-person offerings as the year goes on. And then finally, we'll continue our partnerships, being able to have the partnership with ACMP and the other Texas chapters, as well as the Southeast region. There are 16 different chapters in that Southeast region. So being able to partner with those individuals just brings more robust and valuable content to our members. So we will continue that as well. And then finally, what I want to do is I want to put something out there for you to think about a little bit. And that is, what can we do from a programming perspective, really from a board perspective, but from a programming perspective, how can we make sure that we're meeting your needs, adding value to your coaching practice, whether it's internal, external, but adding value to you and getting you engaged in ICF San Antonio? We want to land into diving into that, or dive into that question when we get to the Q&A, but I thought I'd give you the opportunity to talk about it or to think about it a little bit before we get to the open Q&A. And I'm excited to serve as programs director starting in 2021 and extremely open to any suggestions, recommendations, or any information you have to share with me. So Susanna, back over to you to move us along to the rest of the program.
Sure. The last item here in 2021 is peer coaching. And so in the near future, so that means before the winter break, you're going to hear from us. And we're going, because 39 of our members have stated in their profile that they want to participate in peer coaching. So this is a tremendous growth from when we started this idea. And so it's time to kick it off. And what we're going to do is we will be stating a few criteria to participate, you know, how it works basically. And then we're going to pair you up and introduce you to each other so you can begin coaching each other. And you, the two of you people that will be coaching each other will establish, you know, the scheduling, the length of the coaching sessions, for how long you want to be coaching each other. And for those of you who are seeking credentialing through ICF, these are paid coaching hours. So you can document those as that. And moving right along, I'm going to turn it over now to Terry. Before I do that, I'm sorry, I just want to say kudos to Jessica and Denise in programming 63 events this year. That's an average of 6 events a month. 5 to 6, because a couple of months of the year, in the year, we don't really have very much in programming. And 647 registrations, that's about 65 people participating each month. That's incredible. So,
and we couldn't have done it without you, Susanna, because you do so much of the behind the scenes that it is heaven sent to me to make sure that all gets done. So thank you.
Well, and thank you as well. Moving right along, I'm going to turn it over now to Terry Wright. She's one of our newest board members, and she's our treasurer. Terry?
Thank you so much, Susanna, and welcome everybody. I am super excited to assume this position. And, you know, just to let you know that our finances are very healthy right now, because what we did as a chapter is we utilized virtual programming in order to lower our expenditures, because we weren't allowed to have in-person meetings, which decreased expenditures. And so this actually puts us in a very healthy financial position going into 2021. And everybody understands how difficult it has been for 2020 as, you know, a small business owner, whether, you know, in all gamuts, basically, of life because of the current toxicity that we're living in the environment. Whether you want to look at political all the way down to diversity and inclusion, it's just been a very, very difficult year. And so as coaches, we want to get out there and expand our reach and make more of an impact and make more of a difference in this world. So it's super exciting starting 2021 off with a healthy financial background so we can expand our reach, expand our programming. And so that's going to increase our financial stability going into 2021. And we are also looking at hiring a virtual assistant, which will help us, which will help the board members utilize our expertise and time to provide more programming, to provide more content and more value to our members, because we have been quarantined and it has really been impacting people's, just their outlook on life, professionally and personally. And so we want to be here for our membership, and we want to be able to provide the assistance that's needed in order, to help your coaching business and to help others in the coaching profession. So I'm super excited. And here's the deal, like Susanna said, I just assumed this position a month ago. But whenever I first started getting in and looking at the finances, it's amazing to see that we do have the financial health to get out there and kickstart 2021, off and make sure that we're able to reach and shoot for the stars. So thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to 2021.
And thank you, Terry, and welcome again to our team. And as Terry said, everything that we just talked about, growing membership and being digitally present and creating awareness and promoting our programming and creating all the programming takes a great amount of effort and time and energy. And there's just a handful of people doing this behind the scenes. And so we are ready right now to get some help in a lot of these tasks so that we can assume a different role where we're overviewing and planning and looking at the vision for the future, because there's a lot of time right now that is being consumed by tasks where we can get some help, right? All right, so next we have Roger. Roger, would you like to talk to us a little bit about our military membership and our military
if I said no,
partnership? Of course you will.
No, I'll be happy to. So shout out to my my military life coaches that are here. Darlene, who was one of the 31 that was recently trained, retired Sergeant Major. And then I've got Shirley, who is my coworker out at Fort Sam, who is also working on her credentials, and hopefully soon she'll be a professional certified coach here as well. And then we've got Sam. Sam's still on the line, who's over on the reserve side of the house. So thanks for joining in, guys. So 2020, when I came on board, we saw, I started the program back at the first of the year, and we had about 17 coaches, and now we're up to about almost 50 coaches on the installation. I'm finding more every day as they're coming out of the woodwork. So we have, and we're working on getting all of them hopefully into the ICF family as far as the membership. So we'll be working on that. But for 2021, part of the goal, I've been talking with the directors at the Military Family Life Centers that have actually trained the 31. They actually have 32 life coaches that are trained. And so they're wanting to establish an internal life coaching program. They're wanting to advertise it to the community. So I'm looking forward to helping them along with the board, establishing a great relationship with those folks and helping them get a great program, because there's none other program like this in the military, only here at JBSA. So I think that we're going to be seeing some great things. We've got some phenomenal opportunities ahead of us that we're going to be looking at. And part of the programming that, as we talked about with the mastermind, the peer coaching and all that with these young coaches that we have, I'm looking forward to plugging them in so that we can get them the continuing education that they need, get them the mentorship that they need as well, and hopefully get them onto the path of ACC credentialing and beyond. And so I'm looking forward to just serving the community out there and seeing where we're going to go with it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Nope,
Go ahead,
I'm
Roger.
done.
You're done?
I'm done.
Thank you so much, Roger. We're thrilled to have you on board, and we're thrilled to have that liaison with our military community in San Antonio. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Enough slides. And it's time to open up the mics and allow all of our participants today, our members, our friends of ICF San Antonio, to tell us a little bit, you know, how we can serve you better, what we can do, what you like about what we do, what you would like for us to do differently. Any suggestions, input, and feedback that you can provide us with today is going to be very, very welcome. And thank you all for being here.
It's great to have a collaborative conversation, and even though we can't do it truly in person, just to connect with you, our members, and hear what's going on in your coaching world, but also just how you see the chapter can better serve coaches, either in things that are already going on or the ways we could expand into new things.
May I talk a little bit about the Texas Coaching Coalition?
Oh, please do. That is a wonderful resource as well.
I think that this is the time to talk a few words about that. I was introduced to the Texas Coaching Coalition by Carissa, actually, and I represent San Antonio. That coalition, which is integrated by 4 chapters in Texas, the Houston chapter, Austin, the North Texas, and am I leaving one behind?
San Antonio.
San Antonio, right. That's the most important one. Forget it. So anyhow, what they are is trying to provide a value to the chapters in Texas by organizing high-level events. They have been very successful in the past organizing retreats that have phenomenal speakers, and also they have opportunities for the coaches to interact and bond. And they had 2 magnificent events in the past, and this year it was all taken online, and I've been very fortunate to be at those calls. However, sometimes they interfere with other activities that are going on simultaneously. So I think the next event is going to be in 2022. And it's going to be in the ranch. What is it? Carissa, help me with
The
it.
T-Bar-M Ranch.
That's it. That's where it's going to be. And it's going to be at the end of March and the beginning of April. And there's only going to be space for about 150 coaches to participate. So I think it's going to be incredible. The quality of the coaches, of the speakers is amazing. There's still one more for this year, which is going to be on December the 8th with Justina Evans, and she's a master coach, and she's going to have a live session if you wanted to participate. I want to thank San Antonio, ICF San Antonio, for promoting these events. But I would like us to work together to see what is the interest and what do you think that we could do to leverage your efforts, throughout with this organization, with the Texas Coaching Coalition. So I don't know if anyone has any questions here.
Martha,
It's
you
a
said,
great resource to connect with coaches statewide and also be a recharge point for coaches. We're giving out in so many different ways. It's designed to really be something that's pouring into coaches.
Right. That's right. And yeah, we're going to be designing the program all next year. So, I'm going to be very attentive to you, to this board, and to whatever is happening in San Antonio, so I can take it up to the board. Yeah, we're going to be reaching out for a meeting pretty soon. So I'm here to be your spokeswoman over there. I'm trying to do the best job I can to represent San Antonio.
I am sure you will do fabulous, Martha. I have no doubt about that. But please make sure if there are any questions that you get or any topics that you want us to discuss in more detail, reach out to us and we can gather together even virtually and talk about those topics and help brainstorm with you, because you're right. We want to represent San Antonio as a whole, and anything we can do to help support you in that representation, please don't hesitate to let us know how to support you best while you support us.
I am all for that. And tomorrow we're going to have a meeting with all the chapter, the directors for the chapters. So
perfect.
Then after that, I'm going to be reaching out. You count on that. You count on that. So that's what I wanted to say.
thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
Thank you for representing us. Okay. Yorka, Sam, Shirley, Darlene.
This is
We want to
Shirley.
hear from you. Shirley, please go ahead.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm not on screen. I didn't realize it was going to be an interactive session, and I've dived into my bed already. So the day started early, lifting lots of weight at the gym, and we're a little tired. But my question is, I heard someone speaking about unconscious bias, and so my ears have been perked up the whole time. Thank you for all the work you guys are doing. You guys are outstanding. And so I was curious, is there a committee, or where are you guys seeing that blossom to under our current times? Is there more discussion on that area?
We have started having conversations with local businesses that are looking to have specific programming in regards to the diversity and inclusion topics. And so that's something, it's still in the germinal stages, but having a team that can be deployed and go and do presentations in different organizations is really where that's headed. And it falls both under the umbrella of programming, but also it really is a community development piece as well. And Paula's been the most directly involved in those conversations, and perhaps she'll be back here before we wrap up. But if not, we'll get out more details about that, because it's definitely a resource we want to be providing to the community.
Right. Thank you.
And I'll add to that, Shirley, if you are familiar or know of a speaker or a topic that you've seen that's been impactful around the topic of diversity and inclusion, I would be very open to, you know, talking about that in order to get someone on the programming schedule. We haven't finalized our programming for 2021. And so if you're familiar with someone or yourself, I don't know you well enough. It could be you.
You never know.
You never know. It could be you. But please let me know, and we can talk about getting that in one of our, you know, either Coach Connects or masterminds for
Okay.
For the year.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I remember right, Shirley, weren't you doing something with Maxwell as far as diversity and inclusion to get some kind of certification?
Yes, they have a diversity, a seat at the table. And so, yes, I am completing my certification with John Maxwell. I'm already certified with them, but this is an additional certification. Because you know I love certifications.
Oh, yeah.
We can't have too many.
All these learners among coaches. What else do you see as providing value to members that would just be a benefit to you or the broader coaching community?
Yeah, I'd kind of like to ask Dorleen that question now that they've got a whole bunch of life coaches in their organization on what they're looking at and how we can assist. You're welcome, dear.
Well, thank you so much, Roger. Hello, everyone. I was like, Shirley, I was just listening because we spent our afternoon talking to one another earlier. We had a meeting
and I didn't
together.
know we were going to be here this evening.
I didn't know that either, Shirley. You would have known. So, but what I'll say is, it was interesting. Our center, we're the Military and Family Readiness Center. We take care of a lot of family services, you know, assisting people with relocation, employment, financial problems, stress management. And our program director selected, I got an email on a Saturday that said, you've been selected to go to this course. And I really didn't know what it was. So I thought it was a little bit of a, what do they call those, when they mess with you and send you junk mail. And then I realized that no, we're going to class. So we took the class a month ago. I want to say less than a month ago, and it was really very good. So I signed up. I decided to go out and do a search on LinkedIn, and I found out that Roger, who is a friend, had his certification, and I reached out to him right away, and he convinced me to become a member. So I'm glad that I'm a member now, and I'm still learning. So what I would say is that I don't know what I don't know yet. So I think I'm going to go out and do a little bit more research. But at this point, I only have the 30 hours. And how do I get to the next phase is kind of interesting and where I want to kind of learn, you know. So the basics, once you have those first 30 hours, what's next? And someone like kind of helping you through that process, I think is really important. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on the start of your journey, Darlene. That's a huge accomplishment right there. And great that you can jump in and start using those coaching skills right away. That really is the best way to deepening skills. And there's multiple pathways that you can continue building those core competency credits, you know, whether it's individual training that's offered like through the ICF chapter, or you can take small modular courses in specific coaching topics. So any of us would be happy to chat with you more, just to hear what your goals and focus are with coaching, because that really helps you customize the training for what is most useful to you. As Yorka was saying earlier, there's so many different strains and even approaches to coaching out there that you can really choose what's most relevant for your arena and the type of people that you're wanting to serve.
Well, I guess you bring up a very good point, ma'am, because I would say that with that being said, as a new member, that might be a nice thing to offer, like, you know, some kind of mentorship, like initial planning with a person that comes on board, especially someone like me, because you can pay, but if you only do the courses, like when they give them, that's really probably not enough. You need a plan. And like you said, you need a plan. And it'd be nice to have someone who has a lot of experience to kind of sit down and say, okay, so where do you want to go? Well, we have some thoughts you can, you know, think about. So that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Darlene, I'm also thinking that if what you need is more experience coaching, then the peer coaching program might be a great fit for you, because you are going to be coached on the things that you need help with. And then you're going to get to practice with another member that is also a professional coach. And there's a lot of learning and growth that happens through that relationship. Not to mention that you will document a lot of paid coaching hours.
Thank you.
That's what I do for a living. So if you're interested, contact me. I am a mentor coach and I help people through their journey. That's my job. So I love my job. I'm very blessed. So I gave you my email already.
Okay.
What else? What other questions or what other suggestions or comments can you share with us that would, you know, add value to you as coaches? That's what we're here for, is to add value. Anything else you can think of?
I love participating in the programs that you have, like last year. I mean, no, this year was the program with the Stand Beside Them coaches, and I was very happy to be one coach for that organization, and I'm still interested. But however, my coachee graduated, and I'm still waiting for the next one. I say, where did he go? Now I need another one. Because you know, it's really a nice initiative, and so I like to participate. Also, there was another thing with the Texas Women's Conference, and that 100. I mean, that was incredible. I loved it. I'm ready to jump in anytime you need a coach.
That's great to know that the different coaching opportunities are valuable.
Yes, and thank you for mentioning the Texas Women's Conference. That's one other opportunity that we offer our members every year to do some pro bono coaching in our community. Just like Stand Beside Them for the veterans, and 100 sessions in 100 days. So we try very hard to serve our community through coaching and the value of coaching. Mm-hmm. Sam and Yorka, we would love to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Susanna. I was introduced to coaching many years ago through a friend of mine now, Roger, who, as a fellow member of the military, he also introduced me to coaching. And so York and I have been engaging in coaching now for a while now. And so I'm almost complete with my journey, just need to do the 10 hours of mentor coaching. But it has been a journey, and I've enjoyed it, all of it. And now I'm really excited about participating and engaging more with ICF. There's a lot of resources. It's just taking the water at a glass level versus at a hydrant level, because there's so much out there. So you just have to manage that.
That's so true. That is so true. But we value your membership and we value your input. Thank you, Sam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sam, you hit on something that, you know, as coming into the programming board, one of the things that I really struggled with was the volume of programs that we had, because it's a lot, and it's a lot to manage from the back end side of it, and a lot to have our members consume. But every program doesn't necessarily add value to every coach. And so one of the things that we've talked about and we're really working on for 2021 is, how do we make sure that we give you the information, but we don't make it at such a volume that you just kind of lose interest, because you're like, I can't even absorb all of this information. And so we've talked about things like, rather than sending out individual reminders on programming, how can we send them out, kind of in clusters or in groups or in topics? And so if you have any suggestions that you feel like as a user would make it more consumable to you, we're certainly open to those suggestions, because even as a board member, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got another email from ICF. And, and so I know our members are feeling the same way. And so we do recognize that and want to pay attention, because we want to make sure that the members get what is valuable to them, and not everything is valuable to everyone.
You're absolutely right about that. And one of the things that we did at ATD, because I'm still a member of the Association for Talent Development's San Antonio board, and I also hold a credential called the CPTD, the Certified Professional in Talent Development. When ATD decided to change that, one of the things they realized was that they had to get down to basics about what the CPTD was and is. And that's where they really had to focus on who their target audience is and how would they walk them and guide them through that process. So maybe that's something we look at. If you would like to be certified as a coach, whether it's ACC all the way up to the master position or level, what does that look like? Right now, if you go to ICF's website, it can get a little mind-boggling, because there's so much. And there's a lot of white space, little words. And so you're trying to navigate through all that. So to have that introduction, I think would be beneficial to a lot of us. I know it sounds like from, was it Darlene's perspective is, okay, I did my 30 hours. Now, what does my next step look like? And I had a wonderful opportunity to participate in advance at the ICF level. That was an amazing venture. 30 hours, 40 hours of really great content from a global perspective. But I didn't know that until I did my own research to realize there's some other trainings that are out there that you can take advantage of.
Nice, great feedback. Thank you, Sam.
Yes, thank you so much, Sam. And so let me ask you this. Is that something that you think would be beneficial to our membership as a whole, for us to be able to provide pathways? Because I'll be quite honest with you, whenever I launched my coaching journey, it took me a while to try to figure out which way I wanted to go. And, do I go with ICF, because everything that I've ever done in my profession, Sam, has been about, I want to get the gold standard with everything. The gold standard certification, what have you. So would that be beneficial for our membership?
I think so, but I also think that there may have to be some additional research to look at what our target audience is and what they want, what their needs are. I know for me, I had to do it in small steps, because if you go to a website or a certain location, you could be there all day and still not get what you're looking for. So I think it's just us taking it out of a strategic and tactical approach to see who are we focusing on, what would they like, and how do we meet them at the water jug to see what we can do, provide them assistance and support.
Awesome.
I really like that. And I like this discussion, and I like the way you teed that up, Terry, because I think one of the things that we do try to do is we try to serve all, and so I honestly don't know that we would want to step away from serving all, but how do we market it and structure it to where each target audience knows exactly where to go? So do we have a section that is, corporate coaching, career coaching, life coaching, whatever, or certification and an orientation and pathways? So I'm loving this conversation because I think there's a lot that can give us some creativity and a vision to really think about how we can structure it.
Yeah, ma'am, can I say something? Oh, go ahead.
I think this is where mentorship comes along, and mentorship covers the gamut. So I'll first want to thank Carissa for inviting me on this incredible journey starting in December of 2019. And I didn't know, like many of you, that becoming a coach, it's not a one-time thing. It is a continuous improvement and development of self. And it is absolutely incredible because it's a constant rediscovery. So thank you, first and foremost, Carissa, for bringing me along in this journey. And as I am getting to that certification process, all of those questions that Sam talked about are very true and real, right? And so when we are trying to meet those standards, this is where mentorship comes in and hopefully can help answer some of those questions for those up and coming folks that may not know perhaps how to navigate the system. And we all know that each organization, specifically ICF, because it's a global organization, has so many little lines. It's an entire system that the rookies, like myself, are just trying to literally scratch the surface on how do we navigate and what are some of the tools and resources that are available to us. And it's not about reinventing the wheel. I think it's just about helping folks develop a path where they can get to whatever goal that may be, whether that be corporate coaching, leadership coaching, life coaching, you name it. We all have our own journeys, but I think all those different paths and levels lead us to that.
Creating that journey map could be really valuable, even an infographic type of thing that has the different milestones. It would sort through that maze of the ICF Global website and just have, okay, I'm at milestone 2 and this is the next one. That could be really valuable. But then thinking through what are the different links or resources to be able to point people to. That there is so much out there, it does get to be a little bit of a fire hydrant, and we don't want to be overly steering people because that does need to be the personal choice, but certainly providing options takes the overwhelm out of the decision-making process. Did you have something to add, Darlene?
I believe they've said it best. The last 2 speakers, I mean, I can't say more. So 30, Darlene, you've got your 30 hours. So you need another 70 hours. Here's the thing. You can get 100 sessions in 100 days. You should start there, just kind of working on your motivational interviewing process, because maybe I may branch into different directions, but I have a number. I'm a certification junkie myself, a continuous lifelong learner. And, a lot of them, they'll say, well, you just need this baseline and then get this baseline and then you can branch out and do a lot of different things. So I think the last 2 speakers, Sam, and I didn't see the other lady's name on the bottom. I think they were right on point. Some kind of just help get through that first little bit until you got your feet wet. And then once you got your feet wet, I mean, each person here, if you're willing to be a coach, you've already got enough, to go on and take it to the next level, I think. But just knowing where to go, where to step. So thank you.
And understanding those credit hours, I think it's incredible, right? So when ICF San Antonio put out a call for the Texas Women's Conference, I've gone to that conference for 3 years now. This is my first time being on the other end, which is the giving end, as opposed to be the receiving end. And understanding that not only were your hours counted, but you get to, to continue to practice your skill set. And at the same time, you're going to get your questions because you better be prepared when you go there. It was incredible. And the appetite, Susanna, you can speak to this, the appetite once that part was open, it was booked within 45 minutes. That just tells you the big appetite there is for what we're trying to do.
I want to say something to that effect, York. Absolutely. This was my 4th year participating as a coach in the conference. I have already also attended it, but participating as a coach. Every year, we had the face-to-face coaches corner. And so you have the little table and the 2 chairs, and people show up and they sit with you and you coach them. And, you know, people come and go as they please. There is no schedule. Some people stay longer. Some people don't stay for that long. Some people don't even show up. It was unbelievable this year when they decided to do it virtually. Like you said, all the slots were taken in, I don't know, just a couple of days, I think. Everything was full. As a matter of fact, they asked all the Texas chapters to provide a certain number of coach volunteers. And then they said, well, you know, maybe we won't need that many. Maybe it's going to be less than that. And everybody ended up with a lot of sessions, and they asked for more coaches at the end. So what I submitted was a list of all of you who said you wanted to participate, and those that showed their interest after the fact. Then I added them to the waiting list. And a lot of those people ended up being called. So that was wonderful. That was wonderful. I had never had that many coaching sessions at the Texas Women's Conference.
I will add to that, Susanna. I thought it was really interesting. I have been in person 1 year, and then this year virtually. And I really felt like, even though they were still just 20, 25, 30 minutes, I felt like my sessions were so much more impactful doing them virtually. Yeah. And I think it was just, you know, you're in the midst of the conference, and there's a lot going on at that particular time. And I think the virtual was, I mean, I made some great connections and had some really great sessions virtually. So it was an interesting experience.
Yeah. And like Yurka said, the participants were highly, highly motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that opportunity, I mean, the Texas Women's Conference is such a great example of bringing the value of coaching to the broader community. What do you all see as the opportunities or potential sweet spots for that in San Antonio? How could we, you know, take the skills of our chapter and share that in the community here? Yorka.
Raise my hand. You know, as you may know, I have a full-time job in Keurig Dr. Pepper. And one of our tasks is to really understand what are the trends and insights look for 2021 and for 2022 and moving forward in what is going to be a new world post-pandemic, and understanding that we are going to be in probably the same spot we are today for another year. And what companies are doing, because they're struggling to keep talent, and they're struggling to keep that talent engaged, because we can only do so much Zoom, and we can only do so many WebExes and Teams calls where you lose talent, right? So the wellness aspect is going to take, and is going to be front and center of everything that we do. So as a San Antonio chapter, being able to really highlight those 100 coaching hours, or maybe it's by month, or maybe do a really huge hype around what that means for the city and for those individuals that are working from home, that could attend some of those sessions virtually. I think it's going to be key. And I think, if anything, technology has afforded us the opportunity to have those one-on-ones in in a matter of minutes, breakout rooms, and have some really good conversation in less than an hour. So that is going to be at the front and center. How do we bring the wellness around culture, which organizations are really striving for right now? They're really trying to drive that. They just haven't figured out the magic because we're all on the, well, we are all in it together.
So Yoka, I have a question on that for you. This is Chichi. I'm sorry I can't be on camera. That is a question. The desire is there from this chapter to do that. But the question now is, how do you get to those people that need it most? Getting the word out, the awareness is where the struggle is. How do you see that happening?
And to, from my perspective, is going to be that vehicle which the social media advertising, specifically, I wouldn't say Facebook. Facebook is a different platform. It's specifically LinkedIn, because that's where professionals live, breathe. And I can tell you because I was just on a ERG virtual summit this afternoon across the country, and the numbers were outstanding, right? But it's the hype and it's the right vehicle, which is LinkedIn. And it allows you to bring in people where they are surfing right now. And so if we want to catch that professional, it has to be on LinkedIn.
Okay, follow up. What is your take on reaching out to organizations? I know I work for CPS Energy, and one of the struggles we're having is how do we keep people engaged from working remotely and working across wherever the mediums are? How do you see, I know you're connected in the community, which is why I'm directing these questions to you. How do you see reaching organizations to offer, especially when we're doing pro bono things, to say, let them know, here, this is happening. I know you're facing this. We're all facing this. To get them engaged and calling us even to see what we have to offer.
So the gatekeepers are going to be your HR departments. And they are the ones right now having to wrestle with the talent loss, the talent engagement, and the talent recruitment. And if there's one department that right now is trying to figure out how do I continue to deliver benefits that are not going to be costly for 2021 and 2022 because our budgets are what they are, but how do I continue to develop deliver benefits in terms of wellness for my employees? I think that would be a key. I know from my perspective, that's exactly who we're working with right now internally, is our HR business partners to help us bring either some sort of programming, some sort of webinars that we can dial in to keep our talent engaged. And it's not going away. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we're looking at probably 30 to 40% return back to work in mid of 2022.
Oh, you're not bearer of bad news, it's just reality.
Yeah.
I want to say something on that. I had experience with a couple of clients that wanted webinars on wellness, and people were discouraged. People were trying to figure it out. How am I going to work from home and have the kids running around in the house while I'm trying to concentrate? And all of these things that overwhelm us, right? At the same time, I am exposing myself when I have to go work on see clients. You know, sometimes that's another thing. So what I'm thinking now, that those webinars were great. However, it's not like a pill you're going to have and then the problem is going to go away. It needs to be sustainable effort. It needs to be something that is booked or monthly or bi-weekly or whatever the budget does, because webinars could be done for masses with little investment, really, per person. So training could be cheaper now. However, we cannot have people too long on their call. That's the other thing. And then it needs to be done like in doses. constant doses for it to be effective. That's what I'm thinking now on the design of these programs.
I agree
Yes.
with Ms. Mafia. That's a struggle that we have, but that's marry that up with limited time. You have to take it in those. You can't have webinars for more than 2 hours and expect people to pay attention and gain anything out of it. But these same people are drawn in 50 million different directions and have little time. So, I mean, that brings up the question of on demand. How do we, and this is going back to our board members, how do we do what we do? And I know Aurora have talked about this, and making available that those that don't sleep at night can wake up in the middle of the night and get the learning they need. And I mean, we all function at different times. So we need to start thinking outside of the box to see how do we get things in people's hands so they can self-serve.
Yeah, and I think Chi-Chi, that's a great comment. It's a great point. Because people in their schedules, and there's a little bit of, even the webinar Zoom fatigue that people are facing. So how do we make sure that, you know what, I'm tired now. Maybe I registered for that, but I'm not in the mindset to, Shirley said she was in her bed, and that's perfectly fine. We're glad she's here. But, she could have said, you know what, I've had a long day. I worked out this morning and my day is over. I'm not going to attend, but I really wanted to hear that special topic or that special message. And I think our YouTube and SoundCloud and Vimeo are going to be extremely critical, but we have to make sure we're advertising it and marketing and creating the awareness that people can go capture that information.
I agree to that to some extent. Number one, I think the webinars, the 2-hour webinars are long gone and expired. It's not going to happen. One of the things that we did learn, though, is that in smaller pieces, like the Texas Women's Conference and did that 30-minute, they can be just as powerful as an hour session, right? And leaves the audience wanting more. Second to that, I think that when you are able to deliver value, you create a following of people, and you don't have to sort of deliver the program at 2 or 3 in the morning, right? When a person wants to continue that leadership growth, they will protect that time. We've seen it, we've tested it, we continue to try it. And I would gear you to an incredible organization that delivers incredible programming, which is the Network of Executive Women. And they have their set schedules, set times for delivering their webinars every month. And that's when you get it. And so you almost create an environment where you're looking forward to that particular session or to that particular day. So whether and it's all around the marketing, and I hate to say it is, and how you sell it. So if you create a Tuesday or a Thursday or a Wednesday as your coaching session, self-development, personal growth, and you tout it and you grow it as that, and you are very intentional, very deliberate on that every single month, you will find little by little people will start dialing in, because that's what they expect at this particular time on this particular day of the month. And it's incredible what happens. With that is cadence. So having to design what that looks like, to Martha's point, what date is good and what time is good and how short, and how many coaches you have available, and how we market it in social media on LinkedIn to let people know that if they want that piece, that free coaching session, that's going to happen this particular day at this particular time.
Yorka, let me ask you one follow-up question on that. You're still thinking one-on-one coaching, or are you thinking a group?
I'm thinking one-on-one coaching,
okay.
Especially when you have individuals and the ability to do breakout sessions in one room.
Yeah,
I think people are much more open and able to open up when they are in a smaller group as opposed to a larger group.
I agree with you completely. And I was just really looking for clarification because I do think that we could explore some of that with our Coach Connect, having a certain number of coaches on there and that being some spot or peer coaching or whatever you want to call it, in order for us to create that experience that you're talking about. So thank you for giving me some things to think about and talk about. I think that's great.
It's been so valuable just to get this deeper dive into what organizations and what individuals are wrestling through. And this is going to be an extended journey. So it really raises the question of how can we present what we offer as coaches in a way that makes people go, I want that, I need that. Because coaching in some ways is an abstract concept. People don't wake up and go, oh, I think I need coaching today. But they do feel the pain or the pressure of I'm pulled in a million directions, or I'm tired of being on Zoom. And if we can find ways to create hooks that draw people into specific topics, or even as Chi-Chi was saying, go to organizations and say, we have a 30-minute session. We can present to as many people in your organization as you would like. And this session is on how to create internal calm in the midst of chaos, or, you know, whatever the topic is. And it's a prepackaged module. And then they can say, okay, that's what we need. And we have 200 people that'll, you know, be on this webinar. So there's really a lot of great ideas that have come from this conversation, both in terms of the ongoing programming that we can offer just at large, but even being able to offer things to specific groups that would speak to different pain points as well. So thank you all just for sharing your ideas and expertise. And it really underscores how crucial what we do is. I mean, what a gift coaching is to people, but especially in this time, the gift of having someone listen and connect and help people tap into that internal resilience and find solutions. What powerful transformational work we get to do. And I'm grateful for all of you, for our members, and just for what we get to bring to San Antonio and really the world. We're a part of this global community, and what we do here is impacting lives. So thank you, Susanna, for being our host this evening and walking us through this journey. And it's been great to collaborate with all of you tonight. And we look forward to ongoing conversations, especially as we head into 2021, and how we can connect as coaches in bringing this to our San Antonio community and beyond. So thank you for spending this holiday evening with us and celebrating all the milestones of 2020 and looking ahead to what's possible for 2021 as well. So wish you all a happy and joyous holiday, and just peace and that internal rest as we wrap up this year and look ahead to 2021 as well.
Just a quick picture before we go. Can everybody smile?
Do we have to smile?
Yes. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Susanna, for capturing the moment. And thank you, everyone, for attending. It's been a great evening and great dialogue.
Good night, everyone.
And if we don't hear from you before the holidays, we want to wish everybody a fantastic winter break, Christmas break, Happy New Year.
And I just will say Merry Christmas, everybody.
And
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes,
Thank you, Chi-Chi.
Have a beautiful
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas. Bye-bye.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.